The Fold 7 might be good this year. Let me tell you why. Every year before now, Samsung has given us iterative changes that we didn't want. It was a bulky phone, cameras weren't great. What we did want was a slimmer phone, better cameras, better battery, less visible crease that doesn't look like you folded a piece of paper in half. This year, Samsung may have gone, hold my beer, or my sake, or my zobo, depending on where you live, and decided to cook. Let's get into it. So yes, Samsung gave us a much thinner fold, and it feels amazing to hold. It's super thin at 4.2 millimeters thick when unfolded, and 8.9 millimeters when folded. It actually is thinner in real life, making this the thinnest phone in the world at the time of recording this video. It's basically the size of an average bar phone like an iPhone 15 Plus, which you can fold. It's crazy when you think about it. And even though it's 24 grams lighter than the Fold 6, it is bigger in dimensions. With the outside LTPO 1080p display at 6.5 inches, this brings it into traditional phone standards. Just makes it a whole lot easier to use the keyboard. That way you don't have to twist your hands in a funny position. It just feels a whole lot more natural when closed. The internal LTPO screen when unfolded is now up to 8 inches. That's from 7.6 inches on the previous Fold 6. With 120 Hz refresh rate, thicker glass, and a titanium plate layer, which is great, but to achieve this, they had to make a few sacrifices. For starters, they got rid of the digitizer layer, which is required for the S Pen. You know, that S Pen, that was really inconvenient to carry around. So yeah, no S Pen support, which is a bummer because even though I know not too many people use that S Pen that much, even me, it is sad to see it go. It's good to have that option, especially for something that's supposed to mimic a tablet. It just makes sense to write and draw on a tablet. But because there still isn't an onboard storage option for the S Pen, except you buy one of those weird cases to hold the pen, I can see how it wasn't that hard for them to let it go. Also, I don't know if it's because the digitizer is missing, the display is dimmer compared to the Fold 6. When you have them side by side indoors, might not be that easy to catch, but once you're outside and the nits are pushing it, it's really easy to notice that the Fold 6 is brighter than the Fold 7. Keep that in mind. Next up on the wish list, cameras. Yes, Samsung did make upgrades to the camera system by giving us a 200 megapixel main camera from the S25 Ultra, finally, and the ultra-wide camera now has autofocus. And the Fold 7 also introduces 10-bit HDR video support even when shooting at 4K 60 Hz. In the front, they got rid of the weird underscreen camera and put in a regular punch hole 10 megapixel camera with a wider field of view. But while we're on the subject of cameras, you got to keep in mind the phone is a whole lot thinner now, and these are really big camera humps on a really slim phone. So when you place it down flat, it makes it one of the most unstable phones on a table ever. And on that scary note, you got to keep in mind this thing costs over $2,000. So protecting it isn't a suggestion. You just got to figure it out and do it. I used the Spigen Glaster EasyFit Pro for cover screen because, like the name says, it was super easy to install, and Spigen has a great reputation. Not sponsored. This is just what I used. Doesn't get in the way of the case you install, so it just sits there and protects the glass on the cover. As for the back case, I use something called pitaka. Sorry, that's not how they probably pronounce it, but it reminds me of what the minions say, and that's how I'm saying it. Pitaka. Which looks and feels great. It's a woven design. They do have it in different colors. I'll also leave a link if you want to check them out. Again, not sponsored, just something I use. Moving on. In terms of user experience, the 7 is rocking One UI 8 over Android 16, which looks pretty much the same as One UI 7, in my opinion. But it still has amazing multitasking. I think this is probably still the best multitasking phone, period, when it comes to foldables. It has a convenient taskbar to add on to that when you're in another app and you just swipe up a bit and it pops up between apps you recently use or apps you frequently use, and you can just switch between them as required. Under the hood is a Snapdragon 8 Elite, top of the range, just like the S-Series flagships, which will handle all your mobile gaming needs pretty easily. As long as you don't play for super high end forever, you should be fine. Thermal throttling is still a thing here. Basically, that's what your processor does to manage heat and performance when you play for too long. It will just reduce how effective that processor is working. But again, should be mostly unnoticeable for most users. And reviews wouldn't be complete without mentioning the two letters AI. AI features are still here with image editing, erasers, and circle to search, which you know who created, but is now also here as it was in the last version. They have expanded it a bit though, because you can now use this in-game real time to circle something and helps you figure out a tricky boss or tricky levels. It just gives you real-time advice in the game you're playing. Battery life is okay, which is pretty much what I said last year. And that's because it's the same battery at 4,400 milliamp hours, which is also limited to 25 watt charging speed. For a flagship, I think it can do better, especially if you're paying over $2,000. Fortunately, it does have Smart Protect feature, which prevents you from maxing out the charge of your battery all the time to extend the life. But to get the full advantage of this, you have to sort of agree to customize ads or something if you want the adaptive feature, which is really cool. But that's gangster, Samsung. Why you gotta make me agree to customize ads just to get the full benefits of battery management?
For starters, where's the new Mario game? I mean, let's face it, that's why we're here.
And one more nitpick, the speaker is not as loud as that of the Fold 6, but I'm sure a lot of people will not notice because who's having parties with their speakerphone?
So, did Samsung cook? Absolutely. It went from a blocky square, rectangle, into the thinnest device on the planet at the time of shooting this video. Improved cameras, crease is still there. Some claim it's slightly less visible. I think it's the same. I think the more you fold it, it's just gonna be more visible, but it's a supposedly stronger screen. Anyway, is it an easy recommend? I'd say if you've never been in the folding phone game and you want something that transforms into a tablet, the Fold 7 would be at the top of the list. But if you already own the Fold 6 and are very into using your tablet form with the pen, that's not here because the digitizer is gone and you have the same battery. So I wouldn't recommend upgrading if you have. It's not life or death, except you just have cash lying around. You don't have to go from the 6 to the 7. What else could be better? Apart from the battery, it could get dust resistance. It does have water resistance, but no dust resistance. That's my take on the Fold 7. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I think it's a great update, something we really wanted after a while. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Hey guys, welcome to Split. The Note 7, did I say Note 7? That's not a Note, that's a Fold.